Hi guys, welcome to your ELA class for April 2nd, 2020. It is Thursday, it is almost Friday. That being said, if you have not completed the warm-up, please pause now and do so. It is just a warm-up with some multiple choice questions. You can either choose to bold or highlight the answer choice. They're just very multiple choice test prep style questions that we've answered before, but related to the Veldt as a review of that style of question and to help you review some information about the Veldt since we haven't worked with that particular text since Monday. And we're now going to need that for the allegory work we're going to do today. Pause here. If you need to do that independently, go ahead and continue on with me if you've already done that work and you're going to check your answers. Number one, which of the following statements best describes the theme of the Veldt? This came from your exit ticket on Monday. The correct answer is B. Technology can be a good thing as long as you don't rely so much on it that you forget to actually live. A is incorrect because it is impossible to be a good parent to make your child happy all the time. That might be a true statement, but it is not relevant to the Veldt in the way that some of the other answer choices are, especially because it wasn't the primary thing that the Hadleys were struggling with, even though they were struggling with their family dynamics. C, overuse of technology will eventually lead to the downfall of mankind. If you're getting really drastic and dramatic with it, I could see where maybe you thought C was the answer. But really, it was just the downfall of the Hadleys. It wasn't like they let loose the lions on the entire town and David McLean and let them run about and just kill everybody. So jumping to all of mankind is pretty drastic. D, it is okay to use technology to make your life easier as long as you don't ignore your children and responsibilities. That's a very literal interpretation of the story. And the B is better because it the Hadleys weren't necessarily ignoring their children. They just weren't connecting with them or communicating well as a family, and they weren't ignoring responsibilities. I mean, Lydia even wanted to turn it all off and take responsibility. Same for George. So that is why it is not D. Number two, the author most likely wrote this story to. The correct answer is A, convince readers that an overabundance of technology can have harmful effects on people. Number three, how does George's view of the nursery differ from Lydia's view of the nursery in the beginning of the story? So thinking about point of view, D, Lydia thinks that the children have broken the nursery while George believes that it's a simple glitch that is the problem. Little did they know what would happen. Number four, the children are so against their parents shutting off the nursery and house because of all of the following, except. So you're looking for the incorrect reason. So the answer choices are A, their parents let the house take care of the children. B, the children are afraid that they will be uncool. Or C, the children view the house and the nursery as their parents. And lastly, D, the children have become attached to the house and nursery. So it says all of the following except. So we're looking for the one that is incorrect. So the children are so against the parent shutting off the nursery and house because of all of the following. So three of these are correct for what the children think or believe. So the parents let the house take care of the children. That is true. So we'll keep A. The children are afraid that they will be uncool. They don't necessarily talk about that, but let's check if the other answers are true. C, the children view the house and nursery as their parents. Yep, the house and the nursery definitely take priority to the children, and they care about that and listening to the house and the nursery more than their parents. So C is correct. And D, the children have become attached to the house and nursery. Yeah, they're super attached to the nursery. They throw a fit when their father says they're going to turn it off or says hey, we're going to take a vacation. Who doesn't want to go on a vacation? I want to go on a vacation right now. I don't want to be stuck in this house for coronavirus. But here we are. No one can go on vacation. So even to Iowa, like the Hadleys were about to. So when you need to pick three of these that are true, we already said A, C, and D were true, which leaves us with B is the untrue statement, and therefore it's saying because all of the following except, so it's looking for the untrue statement. B should have been the answer that you selected as the only untrue statement and as the answer to number 4. And for today, Kipsters will be able to analyze allegorical elements between the short story The Veldt and the film Smart House. Just as review, board equals paper. This is the first time we're going over this since being out of the school building. So make sure you have this in your notes, especially as you're practicing those skills and how you organize a notebook for yourself. The term is allegory. Our definition is style of writing in which characters, events, and settings have 2 meanings, literal and abstract symbolic meaning. Our attributes are metaphor through the entire text, underlining meanings having social, religious, or political significance. This particular story and allegory is going to have more of social significance than the political one that we're used to looking at with Animal Farm. Determining how one work draws on another. So we don't necessarily have 2 texts. We have a film and we have a text. So we're going to be talking about them as work A and work B, very similar to how we would talk about text A and B. So you read the question, you label the text or the work A and B. Remember, text or work B is always the one that comes before in the question, and A comes after. So text or work B is going to be Smart House, and we're going to be looking at how it draws on text A, the Veldt. So then you summarize patterns from text A. What is the main message? What do you notice about the characters? Then we summarize patterns from text or work B, Smart House. What do you notice about the characters? What is the main message? Then we make an inference and determine how work B, Smart House, has similarities between the characters and the main message from text A. Go ahead and scroll to practice number 1. I'm going to talk you through practice number 1, and then you're going to do a little bit more work with the Veldt, and then you'll rewatch some clips from Smart House to answer essential questions, which will lead you to being ready for your exit ticket. Essential question for practice 1, how does technology impact the lives of the family in the Veldt? We have a very short excerpt from page 2 of the PDF of the Veldt that I'm going to read aloud. If you want to read it silently to yourself, just skip ahead about 30 seconds. George, I wish you'd looked at the nursery. What's wrong with it? I don't know. Well then, I just want you to look at it is all, or call a psychologist in to look at it. What would a psychologist want with a nursery? You know very well what he'd want. His wife paused in the middle of the kitchen and watched the stove busy humming to itself, making supper for 4. It's just that the nursery is different now than it was. All right, let's have a look. They walked down the hall of their soundproof Happy Life home, which had cost them $30,000 installed. This house, which clothed and fed and rocked them to sleep and played and sang and was good to them. Their approach sensitized a switch somewhere, and the nursery light flicked on when they came within 10 feet of it. Similarly, behind them in the halls, lights went on and off as they left them behind, with a soft automaticity. Directions summarize the patterns that you see. So first we're going to look at what do you notice about the characters. Then we're going to think about what is the main message. So what do you notice about the characters? So it's just George and Lydia. So George is unsure why his wife is worried about the nursery. He seems pretty carefree, nonchalant, and he's just enjoying the technology doing what it should. Lydia, however, is worried about the nursery. She's discussing it with her husband, and she's allowing technology to cook dinner for her family. The main message. So this is where we think the author's purpose plus the gist. So right now the author's just entertaining with telling this story. We know that there's an allegory underneath, but their purpose is just to entertain. And the gist of this section is George and Lydia walk down the hallway to look into the issues with their high-tech nursery while enjoying the technology that the kitchen and the hallway provides. So to answer our essential question, how does technology impact or affect the lives of the family in the Veldt? Just for this section, the Hadleys don't have to do many things for themselves. The stove cooks dinner for them on its own. Lights in the hallway turn on for them as they walk and sense their presence. There isn't much that they're doing for themselves, but in this particular section, it has a positive connotation. You'll then go on to practice 2, examining the same essential question, but a different excerpt. And practice 3, again, the same essential question, but different excerpts. You'll do the same box to summarize the patterns about what you notice about the characters. Children will be part of this, as well as the parents. And then what is the main message? Again, thinking about author's purpose and the gist of that section. And then answer the essential question one more time. Practice 4 is when you're going to switch over to your examination of Smart House. So how does technology impact the lives of the family in Smart House? Same question, but applying to work B. I have linked the clips I want you to look at, and I've also labeled the part that it is within the playlist if you are accessing the playlist as a whole. You'll fill out the same summarizing of the patterns. What do you notice about the characters? What is the main message for each of those particular clips? Most of the time, I'm asking you to watch a couple different ones together so you can gist them all together. What do you notice about all 2 or 3 of those? None of them are longer than 2 seconds. Some of them I tell you like to stop at 1:19 or fast forward into halfway through. And then you'll answer the essential question after each of them as well. In that particular part, how is technology affecting the lives of the family in Smart House? Your exit ticket is very similar to what you've seen before. Usually you see it as a stop and jot, but you're going to fill it out in the Google form. How does the film Smart House draw on ideas from the short story, The Veldt? Give examples and evidence from the film and short story. Make sure to explain. I've given a sentence starter for you and 3 things for you to think through if you get stuck. Feel free to type it out in the document, but then copy and paste it into the exit ticket to get your credit, or into the exit ticket Google form to get your credit for the exit ticket. Once you are done with that, you can do your 15 minutes of Lexia practice and make sure that you hit turn in Google Classroom as well. Again, if you don't hit turn in, I don't know you're done. And so it's hard for me to give you credit for your classwork because I don't want to grade it before you are done. Please, again, as always, feel free to email me, text me, call me, FaceTime me if you have questions about any of this and require assistance. Today does feel a little bit of a bulky workload, but this is the practice that 99% of you filled out the opinion survey before we started Google Classroom, told me you wanted more practice with allegory, and this is it right here. So put in the work, practicing the allegory, reach out. I'm happy to help with any and all steps of it that you might require assistance with, and I will see you back to finish up this allegory tomorrow for Friday, end of the week. Okay.